bitches! Woohoo! Hello and welcome to Connor Reviews. May the 4th be with you on this day. Today is a day when a fandom gets together to celebrate a franchise that has changed the world and changed pop culture, I argue, for the better. And to celebrate this wonderful day, I will do the only thing I know how to do, and that is review games. So with that in mind, on this May the 4th, we are going to review Star Wars Episode 1 Racers. You mean pod racing? Yes! Why didn't you call it Pod Racers? Well, because the game is called Star Wars Episode 1 Racers. Yes, but Star Wars Episode 1 is universally hated. The one thing that everybody loved from the first movie was the pod racing scene. So why wouldn't they just call it Star Wars Pod Racing? When you think Star Wars Episode 1 Racers, it makes you think of the first episode, and it makes you think of like a Mario racing game. Why, yes. Yes, you do. And more importantly, let's go back into the Episode 1 thing. Were they going to make more games based on the pod racing to cover every single episode? Why Episode 1? It's such a weird name. Oh, see, I can answer that one for you. You see, when they added the name just Star Wars Racers, everyone was thinking, like what you were saying earlier, games like Mario Kart and Crash Bandicoot and those kinds of games. So what they wanted to do is make people think of pod racing, so they called it Star Wars Episode 1 Racers. Well, then why didn't they just name it Star Wars Pod Racing? Damn it, Jerry, this is late 90s, early 2000s, George Lucas. You're thinking with way too much logic. And with George Lucas around this time period, there is no logic. Oh, shit, yeah, I forgot. For those of you who don't know, Star Wars Episode 1 Racers is a pod racing game where you take place in pod racing tournaments all over the Star Wars galaxy. Now, this game, for its time, actually does have a lot of pod racers. You don't get a lot to choose from right at the very beginning, but as you progress through the game, you can choose up to 23 different pod racers, including such famous guys like Aldar Beto, Clegg Holdfast, and Jake Lloyd. What? Seriously, guys? I see that look in your eyes. You're wondering, who are these characters? Who are these people? Come on. Shame on you for not knowing your Star Wars characters. Come on, everyone remembers the great Aldar Beto. He came in 3rd place in the Star Wars Episode 1 pod racing scene. 3rd! It's not 1st, not even 2nd, but it's better than 4th. 3rd is pretty good in my eyes. Clegg Holdfast? Come on, it's Clegg, guys. Clegg! Do you guys remember the Clegg merchandise, right? Okay. Clegg, he was the guy that was in the front of the line when the race started in Episode 1. The front of the line to start the race. They don't just give that spot to anybody. No, they give it to Clegg Holdfast. Jake Lloyd, you guys don't remember Jake Lloyd? He starred in that movie with the boat racing and something to do with the town. Montana or something. I don't know. He was a kid in Jingle All the Way with Arnie. He kicked the shit out of his mother recently, and he was sent to jail for speeding. You know, that guy, Jake Lloyd. Jake. Aldar Beto, Jake Lloyd. Oh, shit, guys, I fucked up here. Jake Lloyd is the actor who portrayed Anakin Skywalker. That's what I meant, not Jake Lloyd. Anakin is in the game, not Jake Lloyd. Although Jake Lloyd does the voice for him. Yeah, he reprised the role again for it, so that's something. When it comes to tracks and tournaments, there are 4 different tournaments that you can compete in, with a total of 25 different tracks. The tournaments are, of course, divided by difficulty, the first tournament being the easiest, and it progresses getting harder and harder, with the last tournament being the absolute hardest. Now, while the courses do feel very unique from one another and are very challenging in different aspects, I have to say my biggest complaint about them is the graphics of this game. They just don't look good. They're very blocky. Really? What? You have issues with the quality of the look of something? Yes. Have you seen our videos? Have you listened to our videos and that constant buzzing noise in the background? Go ahead, go and watch some of the old videos and just listen to that constant annoying buzzing. Not to mention that throughout this video you constantly keep looking at the camera. Instead of looking at the little camera, the little lens part, you keep looking at the screen. Okay, we have 8 subscribers. Do you really think I've got the equipment to go and afford these sorts of things? No! Also, I'm trying out a new camera. I'm sorry, this one has a screen on it, so I keep looking at myself throughout the video. Okay, I'm not used to it with the other camera. I didn't have to look at myself as often. But at least the buzzing noise is kind of gone, so you're welcome. And it just seems a little hypocritical that you're criticizing a game for the way it looks when our videos look like a horse's asshole. Shut the fuck up and let me explain. Now, I understand the N64 for its time, this is the best kind of graphics they could do. I get that. But there are other games with this kind of graphics that I would never say the same complaints about. Another game, for example, that's on the N64 with also bad graphics is Diddy Kong Racing. Now don't get me wrong, I love Diddy Kong Racing. It is one of my favorite games of all time. But I have no issue saying the graphics aren't good. But it looks fine in that world. It never bothered me that the graphics looked the way they did because it felt like it matched the world. It felt alive and proper for its world. Colorful, vibrant, yet the world of Star Wars Episode 1 Racers doesn't feel that way. Some would argue it's a stylistic choice, but it doesn't seem that way. It just seems lazy and just cold and lifeless. Now that's not to say the graphics didn't work at all. There were some things I really liked about the graphics in this game. There were certain times when you're speeding around a corner and you see an object that looks like a ramp, but it's actually a jump. Or in some cases it looks like a jump, but it's actually a rock. And you end up slamming into it or flying off and missing it. Or other cases, you'll see a bright light ahead of you where you can't really see what's going to happen, and as soon as you pass the bright light, you crash into a wall. I did like those aspects of the game. I still felt the game was being held back being on the N64. This game, I think, could do a lot better on anything more powerful, like even a GameCube, Nintendo Wii, whatever. Anything that's a little bit more powerful than what the N64 could offer. Hypocrite! Shut up, you fucks. Anyways, another thing to talk about in this game is the currency. As you win in different tournaments and races, you get more currency, and then you can use that currency to go buy upgrades for your vehicles. Now again, I'm going to give kudos to this game as it did a great job in upgrading the vehicle sections. They really broke the pod racers down into many different sections and having many different things to upgrade. And when you go to do the actual upgrades, you get to deal with everyone's favorite Jewish stereotype, Watto! When looking up information for this review, I ended up finding a Watto Twitter account, which I was so excited for. But then I found out it was for some biking or health thing, I don't know. Such a missed opportunity. Now, this racing game obviously has multiplayer mode. Now, according to the Information Superhighway, when it was on PC, this game could support up to 8 players at once, which is pretty awesome. But I didn't play the PC version. I played the one on the N64. So I just got to do 2-player mode, which is fine, but a little disappointing compared to an 8-player version, which would have been fantastic to play. But yeah, the 2-player multiplayer, it's fine. To wrap this review up, this game is really good. They made some great choices and made each map very different and challenging at the same time, forcing you to constantly have to pay attention. No map was too easy. You had to constantly pay attention. They also threw in a huge amount of racers and a huge amount of tracks for the time, which I appreciated. The only thing that really holds this game back from being a 5 out of 5 is the graphics. Yes, I know it's hypocritical, but the graphics constantly pull you out of the game because it just feels very dated, and it doesn't work today. Hey, Disney, if you're considering ever remaking this game, you have my support. You remake this game, rename it Star Wars Pod Racing, release it in HD, and you have my purchase. I'm giving this game a 4 out of 5. So what did you think of Star Wars Episode 1 Racers? Do you think it's worse than I say it is? Do you think Jake Lloyd is your spirit animal? Let me know in the comment section down below, and may the 4th be with you. If you're ever bored, just start Googling Jake Lloyd. My God, his life is just awful, but beautiful. It's like watching a train crash in slow motion. It's just fantastic.